Hi, it's Danny Valencia here, and having helped so many expats move into London over the course of so many years, I want to share with you this video the things that you should be considering when you decide to rent a property here in London. And make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to be sharing with you some bonus questions that's going to help you not only save money, time, but also effort. So stay tuned. So one of the main things that you should be considering when you decide to rent a property in London is absolutely the cost. And one of the main costs that you're going to have is going to be the rent. Now, what you pay for rent is going to depend on a few things, but mainly it's going to be location, size, and the condition of the property. Let's stick with location for now. If you're looking at Zone 1, which is central London, then it's going to be more expensive. The more further out that you're going to get, the more you get for your money. A one-bed flat in Zone 1 is going to be around about £1,700 for a one-bed flat. Now, in terms of dollars, because we work with a lot of expats, especially from the US, you're going to be looking at around about $2,300 in the exchange rate today. A common mistake that I see a lot of expats making is that we have here rents displayed as weekly and monthly. When they see the weekly, they times it by 4 and they get the monthly rent, right? No, not right. That's wrong. The way that we do it here in the UK, for example, if a property the weekly rent is £400, then you should take that £400, multiply it by 52 weeks in the year and divide it by 12, which should give you just above £1,700. That's the way that we calculate it here. Now, another cost that you should be taking into consideration is a security deposit. So any landlord or agent you're working with should be taking a security deposit from you. And that's going to be capped at 5 weeks if the property is £50,000 or less in the year. So you've got your rental, you've got your security deposit, furniture. Now, of course, most of the properties here in central London are furnished. If you want to buy your furniture separately, you can do so. That's up to the negotiation or whatever property you're looking at. The difference in cost between a furnished and unfurnished property is going to be around about 5 to 7%. Some of those have no difference whatsoever. But the difference is minimal. Now, agencies and the fees they charge. If you're working directly with a listing agent, then there's going to be no fees. It's against the law here in the UK to charge any fees whatsoever to the tenant. Take into consideration that that agent is working directly for the landlord and in the best interest of that landlord and not yours. And of course, the agent has to be compliant and try and come to a win-win situation. However, the agent is there to work in the best interest of the landlord. So, if you wanted to work with an agent, a relocation agent and retained, you can do so. What the cost of that's going to be? That's going to be on average around about 10% of the annual rent. So for example, for this property, for a property that's £1,700, you're going to be looking at £20,000 for the year. That £20,000 for the year, you're going to be looking at 10%, you're looking at £2,000 plus VAT. So let's run down those costs. You have the rent, which is around about £1,700. You have your security deposit, which is £2,000, that's £3,700, and of course if you're working with an agent, then that's going to be £5,700. There is something that I haven't shared with you. This is assuming that you pass reference. If you don't pass reference, and there's many reasons why you may not pass reference, even if, and especially if you're coming from overseas, then you will be asked to pay 6 months rent in advance. So if you are paying 6 months in advance, be prepared to pay for 6 months for £1,700, you're looking around about £10,000 rent in advance, plus you're paying your security deposit, £1,700, that's £11,700, and then your agent if you are working with an agent. I hope this is making sense to you, and if it is, please leave a like button here, say yes, and please make sure you support us so we can continue to deliver value of these videos to you and everyone else out there. So let's jump on to what kind of requirements that you need when you come here to the UK to rent a property. So the first thing is that you need the right to rent check here, which a landlord will do, or the agent. Now what this means is that you have some type of visa, you have a document to prove that you can reside here in the UK with no immigration conditions. The second thing that you should be having is affordability, and the person to know, the agent to know, or the landlord to know that you can actually afford your property, and that looks like a referencing company doing all their due diligence, and you should be earning more than 2.5 times of the rental amount. So for example, if the annual rent, the property you're looking to rent, is £20,000, then you should be earning on average around about £50,000 or more. Now again, if you don't earn that, and that should be UK earning. Now if that is from the US or it's from another country, they won't take that into consideration for the referencing. So take that into consideration that you may need to pay 6 months rent in advance. Now, one of the biggest things that you should consider when you decide to rent a property here in London is definitely going to be the time of the year that you decide to move. Why is that important? Because August and September and even sometimes even October can be absolutely crazy. Why is that? You have families that are moving and love to move at this time of the year because their kids are on summer holiday. You have graduates who are moving into the city to look for their next opportunity. You've got employers moving their staff around all over the world or employing more people into their team. And you've got students, which is big part of the rental market here in London. Whether that's overseas or whether that's from different parts of the UK. So if you're moving this time of the year, be prepared to have a lot of competition. Now, if you manage to avoid that, please take into consideration, or decide to avoid it, those months, take into consideration that agents and landlords decide to leave their best stock available during these months. So you may struggle to find a great property in another time of the year. I'm not saying you won't find any, but there will be fewer. But then again, you have less competition. So there is a downside and an upside, and it's something that you have to balance out. So that now leads us to my final bonus question. I'm going to leave a link on this video so you can download, which will be our tenant needs questionnaire. And that's going to give you so much insight as to the type of questions you should be asking yourself before you even decide to rent a property here in London and reach out to agents. So some of those things I'm going to be sharing with you now, which is firstly, of course, is the budget. Take into consideration the overall budget. Yes, you have your rent, but then you also got transport in London, which is very expensive. You also got your bills to pay, you've got your council tax, so other things to consider. And if you want me to share more information as to the bills and everything else, just give me a shout, leave a comment below. I'll be more than happy to share more information for you. You can also take into consideration the type of property you want to live in. Now, people love period conversions, as do I. However, they do come with some challenges in some cases. Some of those are they don't have the best soundproof, they don't have the best plumbing, they are old properties, even if they're being refurbished. You know, the electrical, the plumbing that they share with the other parts of the building can be quite old. So take that into consideration. New builds, purpose build, period conversions and so forth. And of course, what part of London you're going to be living at. Are you okay with jumping on an underground? Are you rather claustrophobic and you want to avoid the underground and you rather take a bus? Your bus journey, where you're going to be commuting to. All these things are things to take into consideration, and this document that I'll be sharing with you will allow you to dive even deeper and look into that. Now, I'll be sharing more information in terms of areas. If there's a specific area that you want to find out about, please feel free to give me a shout and I'll make sure I'll share more information of that specific area in terms of things to do, the kind of rent that you'll be paying, transport and so forth. As always, thank you very much. Danny Valencia here. If anything that me and my team can do to help you move into London, just let us know.